Welcome back, Battle Lab subscribers and Patreon members. I appreciate your support. I'm glad to bring you this small segment and flesh out what we call non-permissive environment bags or ditch bags that are a little bit different than what you'd find in a get-home bag or a bug-out bag domestically here in the United States. Without further ado, let's get into this topic. In a non-permissive environment, you're going to have to manage different problems than you would as you set up a get-home bag or a bug-out bag back in the States. A non-permissive environment ditch bag is specifically put together to help you get off the X, find rescue, or complete the mission. And it's going to be set up for a fight. And it's important that you know that these are the kinds of things that you've got to be thinking about when you're out in the field. I didn't write about this in my book, To My Son, that you can find on Amazon as well as in Kindle e-reader or paperback. You don't find me talking about that in here, but any of the characters that would have been on any of the missions in here, like we are talking recently about security advances with Chip and the team leader Nick, you would find they would also, both of those characters, be carrying a non-permissive environment ditch bag. It's essential. So let's talk about what's in those bags and what you might find of use in a non-permissive environment that's going to help you get off the X, complete the mission, or be rescued. The first thing that you need to look at is comms and signal. Communications and signaling devices are essential. When you get into an ambush and say your vehicle gets knocked down and you have to debus, it's going to be essential to have the proper comms equipment support and signal support in that ditch bag. And what I'm talking about with comms support and signal support are these items: extra batteries, possibly a burner phone in addition to any of the other phones that you have on you. You might be carrying your Thorias satellite phone in there. I did it in Iraq as well as in Afghanistan, have those items tucked away in my ditch bag. So that's part of what you want to be doing, is take your comms equipment, have extra batteries, possibly have extra communications devices in there, and get that going. The other things with comms and signals that you want to be looking at is also having very important items such as flares, pop-up parachute flares, anything that you're going to be able to use as a signaling device to reach out and let folks know where you're at in the vicinity and help you get rescued. Very important to have that, especially green flares and red flares if you're going to have aerial support, so they know if they're going to hit into a hot landing zone or it's a clear landing zone for pickup. Another essential signaling element is going to be a VS17 panel, an orange and pink panel that's IR irradiated, so you're able to signal softly from your environment to let somebody know where you're at. So make sure that you have a VS17 panel or facsimile in your non-permissive environment ditch bag. It's essential to have that tool. Moving on, you need to also have consideration for having navigation aids in that bag too. Have a map of the area that you're operating in. Make sure that you've got phase lines and safe havens and hard points possibly marked off in case you do go down, your vehicle goes down in an ambush and you need to retreat to that area, withdraw to that area for pickup. So think about the navigation aids that'll support you in your operating environment. As well, you might have a second GPS or your GPS stowed in that as well. So having a GPS is eminently critical to mission success because you're going to have to call in your grid. You're going to have to give an 8 or 10 digit grid and let people know exactly where you're at so you can get a pickup or rescue in effect. The next things that you might consider having in those bags are what I call non-lethals. For instance, having smoke is essential for masking your withdrawal from an X when you're on the X or when you're in an urban area and you need to cover your movement. So make sure you've got dense smoke available to you in that bag. I'd carry a couple of them at least. So stuff that bag with some smoke, make sure it's available to you. Another element that's important to have if it's available to you and you've got a golden Connex and you're able to dig right in and have are flash bangs for distraction devices. They're eminently useful in a number of different ways, but it's definitely something to have in there. Have next to them also some CS gas. If you're in a crowd or you see a crowd gathering and you need to disperse that crowd, that CS is going to come in handy. So non-lethal aids, that's important to have in that bag. The next thing that you need to have in that bag are lethal aids. So with lethal aids, this is what you want to stick in that ditch bag. Extra ammunition that's loose. Things that you're going to be able to top off magazines with. So have 40 or 50 rounds in there, 60 rounds even, loose so you can top off what you need. In addition to those loose rounds, I'd have a couple of extra magazines for your primary weapon as well. It's not a bad thing to have. So have a couple of loaded extra magazines in that bag in case some of your other guys that are using the same kind of individual weapons, usually a standard NATO magazine, AR-15 M4 magazine, so you can hand those out. It's important to be thinking ahead, not only for you and what you're going to need to get off of that X, but also your team members. In a lot of instances, I'd say watch what you're putting in this bag, but if you've got a couple of bottles of water that you can fit in the side pockets, great. Anything that's going to help you with keeping your liquids going and hydration going is going to assist you in completing that mission or getting off that X and getting you rescued. So these are the kinds of things that you want to be thinking about getting into that ditch bag. It's a little bit different than a get home bag. It's a little bit different than a go bag. You need to be thinking about what's going to help you operate in a hostile environment. These are the tools, these are the aids, this is the comm equipment, these are the navigational things that you're going to need to survive and complete that mission or get rescued and get off that X. Thanks again for joining me. I'm excited to bring you so much more content. I hope this has been a fun little video, and thanks for your time. You can come over to www.battlelab.us and check out some of our other articles, and also the Security Advance series that we've got going on Patreon. As well, I'm going to be kicking out some more on cognitive warfare. So these are things you can look forward to if you join us on Patreon, and you'll see some of that content and some things as well on our website. So thanks again. Talk to you soon.